Well, with Father's Day almost here, we're going to do a very special and new episode of the Current Temp, and I can't wait for you to see this one. Hi, everybody. I am Joey Sulipeck. Welcome to today's episode, of course, brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. I'm here with Bill Gurner, and many of you may or may not know this. Bill is my father-in-law. I'm fortunate enough to have been able to work beside him for many years in the investment world, and Bill is also the proud owner, a longtime owner, and a new owner of a brand new Lexus.
Oh, I really like that car. And, I wasn't even going to go look at them, Joey, till I kept watching your podcast, and it really got me going.
Well, hey, tell me something you like about this new one.
I got a hybrid car, and I've never had one before, and it was a funny thing. I tried to crank it, and I was waiting on the engine, but it cranks electrically, and it's no noise. So I told the salesman, I said, this car ain't running. He said, yeah, it is.
Well, we've actually got several Lexus owners. Your beautiful wife is in the audience today. She's a Lexus owner with us as well. So thank you, Lexus of Memphis. This is what's going to be fun about this special Father's Day edition. I'm going to turn this over to Bill. Bill's going to run point because we're going to talk about weather and the economy. How about that? We're going to tie those two things together and do a bit of a deep dive. So, Bill, go right ahead.
All right. I think weather has an impact on everything from picnics to stocks and everything else, don't you?
You are 100% correct.
Do you get many calls at night about what's happening the next day or two?
All the time. I still get calls from friends at church who are planning events, from people that have weddings, from coaches that have games, from somebody having a pool party, every day.
Wow, that's incredible. We have fun picking stocks, but weather does have an impact on some of the industries. Joey, you're on the team. You know it. You help us with that. Can you kind of fill in the blanks on that?
I was thinking it through. Hedge funds, institutional investors, they are now more and more hiring full-time meteorologists to give them insight and an inside track on what weather is doing. Because to your point, you said this right out of the gates, and you're exactly right. Weather impacts everything, and a weather forecast can move billions of dollars. And one of the things I was thinking about was it impacts consumer spending, it impacts supply chains, energy demands, agriculture, what's growing or not growing. It impacts insurance claims, transportation. So, it's really tied into everything.
All right. Doesn't FedEx have a weather team?
They do. FedEx, and I've actually worked with those men and women. They're fantastic. They've got a team, of course, that works for all of the flights, but they also tie them into, are we going to have issues getting our product out in Seattle or in Houston or in, New England states? If it's that critical. So you don't really think about it. Most people don't, but it is tied in. And so much so, I think I've shared this with you. I love working with our investment team at EMC, which you're going to hear more about in a moment. But I've actually had a couple of calls from some really well-known entities in Mid-South asking if I was interested in getting back into that because they're trying to hire full-time meteorologists for outfits here that everybody would know these names, and they're realizing we need, for instance, utility companies. Every utility company should have a meteorologist on staff. I didn't even think about that. Ours locally does not. They may soon, but great tie-in, yeah.
What impact does that have on light, gas, and water for us?
Oh my goodness!
Local.
Here's one example. Let's say we've got an ice storm headed our way. Well, EMLGW has to know that so that they can mobilize all these little teams across the country that move from storm to storm to help rebuild the grid. So if you know an ice storm's coming through, what you do is you call these teams from all over the country and get them situated close to Memphis, so that when the ice storm hits, they can come in right away and start putting the power lines back up. Well, if you don't have a forecaster, you don't know to get ahead of the game and have that backed up. And so the end result would be, let's say if you don't have a forecaster, you've got people without power for days or weeks because you don't have a rebuild team nearby. So that's just one example. Another one is if your power goes out and you've got a team that needs to go out and put the lines back up, they can't do it if there's still a tornado in the area. It's dangerous. So they need somebody to tell them, no, it's safe enough to go out now and put everything back together.
Well, what about on the ice storms? The ice gets on the trees fall and hit the line. What impact does that have on utility companies, maybe like gas and water?
I would say the ripple effect goes all the way down the food chain. So number one, you've got a loss of income because you can't bill people if the lines aren't up. You've got the impact on the people themselves, all the moms and dads and families that are without power. You've got the safety issue because normally if there's a ice storm, let's say, temperatures are well below freezing, but now you can't heat your house. So now you're in danger of there being freezing conditions, maybe frost-related injuries or possibly deaths. After doing that for so long on television, another byproduct is when there's a power outage and you don't get the power back on, people get generators. Well, they're not safe with generators, and then you get like carbon monoxide poisoning that happens all the time because people don't know how to properly ventilate a generator. So you get all these second, third, and fourth tier issues every time there's a big weather event like that.
Well, it's expensive too, isn't it, for utility companies?
Consider when I talked about you've got to mobilize these teams to come in and fix it. Well, those teams have to be paid, and they're all making overtime, and they have to be put up in hotels, and they have to have food and per diems to live on. So of course, really, if you think about it, if you're mobilizing dozens or hundreds of these workers to come in, you don't want them sitting around doing nothing and paying them. You want it to be efficient time. So you've got to time out, okay, when is the storm moving out? When can you guys get out of the hotel and start working? You don't want to pay them just to sit around. So it becomes a very specific forecast situation.
Well, I have to get one dig in. You think foxes are smart, but Fox 13 lost the best weatherman we've ever had.
That's very kind of you.
Very good.
Very kind of you. Yeah, but I love what I'm doing now.
Okay. Joy, we said that relates to stocks, and we just had a stock come out, SpaceX. Can you have any comments on that one?
Yeah, that's something our whole team studied for quite a bit. And one of the things we study is not just the company and the lay of the land and the metrics and the fundamentals, but also the people behind those companies. And of course, Elon Musk is a huge personality, so we've studied him as well. That, in my opinion, maybe more public interest. Do you think there's ever been a company offering that's had more public interest?
No, I've never seen one that big.
You've been in this a long time,
Right.
And this seemed to be the biggest, wasn't it? And so even now, I think we're still seeing people that have FOMO, that are like, what did I miss out on? Can I get in on it? And so that's going to be an interesting one as we continue to watch. In fact, we were just dialoguing about it as a team yesterday. We were talking about, what do we do with this stock? Do we buy more? Do we try to hold it? Do we get out of it now? That's one that, again, this story is unfolding in real time because we don't have earnings yet. We don't have any major analytics to study. But right now, that's definitely, I think, a stock that's the premise is hope of what it's going to be down the road.
Good. That's some good insight. Well, okay, I'm really getting excited now, and now we hit the good part. All right, Joey, tell us about EMC and services and what's going on there.
All right, let me get you to EMC. We talked about transportation. We talked about energy needs. So EMC stands for Equity Management Company. I got a nice little video right here of our growth and deep roots, new branches. I'm excited for us and the team. EMC, our Equity Management Company, is our group of investment men and women. We have been together for quite some time. We provide our investment services to FCG, Financial Consulting Group, and it just allows us to showcase our identity as a team of investors, really kind of highlight what we do behind the scenes, how we provide great customer service, and we really focus on these companies and where they're going and what we think they're going to do. I just think we've got a really unique opportunity in front of us as a team to kind of help our clients in a very unique way. I mean, it's just, you said something earlier that was very kind about me leaving television. I haven't looked back since God opened this door because it's been such an amazing group to work with and to give you credit as well, to study with and under. I mean, you've been doing this for decades. You're extremely good at what you do, and I'm just honored to be a part of that going forward.
Yeah. I love the way that tree grew on that.
Wasn't that neat? Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we can relate that to dollars.
That's right. We like growth. We like to see things grow and flourish.
Okay. Do you have a website yet for EMC?
We do. It's EMC and then TN for Tennessee.com. So if you go to EMCTN.com, you can learn a little bit more about us. And if someone wanted to ask a question, it's all free. There's a couple different ways to click contact us or fill out a form. and that'll send us a note, and we can get in touch, or they can ask whatever question they'd like.
All right, Joey, since you're one of the owners of EMC, can you just kind of tell us what your thoughts are going forward for that company and how you want it to grow and manage it?
I was thinking about the overlay between several decades in weather and now several decades in investment, because you and I started working together 25 years ago. And there's a lot of parallels, a lot of overlap between forecasting an atmosphere and trying to forecast what the market's going to do. But what to me is the key is having trust in someone, knowing that they're focused on performance, and seeing if they can communicate well. We'll call that trust, performance, and communication, TPC.
Would you say trust is first?
Number one, because if, no matter I had to get my car worked on today. It's not a Lexus, hopefully one day, but I had to get my car worked on. You don't have to fix a Lexus, it's always working. But I went to this individual, this gentleman I've known forever. It was a bit of a drive to get to him because I trust him. And, I know there's going to be cost involved, and I know things will go wrong, but I trust him. I know he's got my best interest at heart. I know he's going to fix it if it goes wrong, and he wants to see me do well and not be taken advantage of, and that's why I go there. And I do believe, Bill, that as we go into the next several decades, especially with AI, having real relationships with people you trust that you can interface with face-to-face, talk to, pick up the phone and call and just talk about anything and get a real person who cares about what you're doing, that's going to have currency and value. And that's one of the things I know that is a cornerstone of what we do. And so I'm proud of that for the team.
Well, talk about communications a second. How important is that?
Well, critical. And you've been a great teacher of that. One of the things I've admired about the way you've led your companies is making sure you're always giving a client an update, making sure you're reaching out to a client every quarter. Hey, would you like to come sit and meet with us? That takes a lot of work, doesn't it?
It does.
It takes a lot of work and energy to every quarter when you've got hundreds of clients to reach out and say, we would love for you to come in person, visit with us, and find out how you're doing. But I think that's the critical part of this, and that's really our performance. I'm proud of, one of our partners, Joe, said this the other day. He said that's the easy part. Trying to get good performance, which is ironic. What really we put a lot of our heart and soul into is staying connected with clients, and they're not just a number on a sheet. They're real people with families and concerns and hurts and needs and dreams, and we want to connect with them and help them. And so I think that's a big part of communication, making sure you're staying connected with them.
All right. Tell a little bit about the team that we have in place at EMC.
Yeah, talented men and women of all ages, and that's one of the things I like about our group as well is we've got older veterans who have been doing it for decades, who have seen different markets and seen different problems and issues and know how to navigate those. We've got folks that are sort of in that middle tier who are up and, have had life experiences as well and are able to learn from those above them. And then we've got newer faces coming in that have fresh perspectives, lots of energy, are eager to learn. And one of the blessings, I think, for us, I know we're bragging about the company right now, a lot of smart people, a lot of smart men and women that we're surrounded by. And I've always been a believer, and I've seen you do this as well. One person doesn't have to do everything, but when you surround yourself with talented people, you get this combination effect. It's, the trampoline effect we talk about that really helps. I love this phrase, a rising harbor floats all ships. And I feel like we've kind of got that effect at EMC.
Right. Let me clear this up. When Joey and I worked together 20 years ago, whatever it was, when I sold the company, Joey went back to TV, but I live in a zero lot line, and my daughter would never call me, or daughters. So I decided to go back to work, and and the reason is because I'm like Joey, I love it. And Joey's been a blessing with the weather and the finance and his input. He's Mensa, he's smart. We have a smart team, and we communicate and we work well together. And it's just really been a pleasure working with you and getting you back going again in the business. And you've been with back in finance about 7 years now.
Yeah, it's been a minute, and on and off with you throughout a couple of decades. But and I think that's a great place to point out on this special Father's Day edition. This is very much a familial endeavor. we're related. Your beautiful daughter is actually running our soundboard right now. Your beautiful wife is in the audience. We've got family members who work with us at the our store itself, at the office, and so I think that also builds a camaraderie, and I feel like everybody there is part of our family as well as the client. So it's a very unique situation, and I'll say this as well, and we tell clients this all the time. If we're not the perfect fit, we want to help people get to where they're going. And so no matter where you're going, you should have clear communication. There shouldn't be any problems with understanding. Nobody should ever talk over somebody else's head. There ought to be explanations, there ought to be clarity. And so I like the fact that we're able to set that up as sort of what the template should be. This is how it's supposed to be. People that you can call and talk to and you can get information from. And care about, your future. I think that's, if you're not getting that, you should. You got to go somewhere where you can get that.
Well, be sure and let Lisa know I was kidding. She does call me. I don't want her taking my present back.
I saw her smiling. She knows. She knew. Yeah, she knew.
All right, let's sum it up. We've had I really get excited. I really want to stand up when we talk about EMC, but they won't let me. And Lisa told me not to pound the table, so I can't do that. But Joey, just kind of close it out and sum everything up for us.
Yeah, let's first of all, if you've got any financial questions, we'd love to answer them. Go to emctn.com, and it's free. We're happy to help you out and answer whatever questions you have. And a great learning experience. This was Bill's idea, his concept. He was the producer on this whole thing. Weather doesn't just impact our soccer games and our pool parties. It has a $1 billion impact on the economy. Sometimes droughts and floods can have a ripple effect that you don't even know about, but they're actually all tied together. And this was we'll have to do this. We'll have to do this again. Beth, can you free him up? Can we do this again? Can you produce another show? All right, yeah.
Well, Joey looked at it first, so it passed the sniff test.
No, this was great. All right, well then I'll let you tell him thank you for the week. This is
y'all turn your volume up and call us collect.